Hello, hello, hello. It is Friday. We have made it to Friday. Happy Friday. And I am um I'm excited about today's topic. It is called Brand is Your Business's Soul. And I'm really excited about this because as I indicated in the description, it's still sending my brain like firing. These synapses are like, like they're freaking out in there. It probably looks like a fireworks show if my hair is any measure of that, and it kind of is, but this is fine. This looks fine. Um, and so this topic was born, this topic was born out of conversations that I've had with people who participated in the Y workshop on April 9th. I can't believe it's already been so many days since the workshop, since it still kind of feels like it was yesterday. It was just an amazing experience, an awesome, energetic exchange of like-minded people. And I'm so happy about that still. And the feedback I've been getting has been really good. And so, yeah. So, anyway, today's topic: brand is your business's soul. Um, it's the spirit in your business. And I wanted to share this today because Matt Watkins, who attended the Y workshop, and we had our call yesterday, and we were talking about what your business is without a brand. And so that's a question I want to offer for you before I tell you what he and I talked about. But what is your business without a brand? And Matt said something very compelling and true. Very compelling and true. He said, without a brand, a business is just a system or a collection of systems and processes, essentially. Systems and processes that do work together. But without a brand, that is what your business is. Now, I am of the opinion that you cannot have a business without a brand. And then other people might be like, no, that's not true. But think about it. Think about it. You have a brand, whether you intentionally created it or not. And so that's typically the difference that, when I'm talking to people about branding, when I talk about this topic, I say you have two types of brands out there. You have the kind that were intentionally and lovingly created, developed. You have the kind that coalesced around a person or organization in a haphazard and random way. Those are the two types of brands that are out there, period, the end. Well, maybe there's a third one in terms of intentionally built, but incredibly shallow. So I'm willing to acquiesce that there are three types then. You have the kind that are hodgepodge, just kind of came together, no intention behind that. You have the kind that were intentionally created, but are very shallow and don't go very deep. And then you have the kind that are just they have like their own energy. They take on a life of their own. And so that's why I like to say some people build a brand and some people birth them. And when I say that, I like to say it as of right now because I wrote it and then I said it and now I'm going to keep on saying it. Some people build a brand and some people birth them. And then people are like, well, I don't want, Ruthie, are you talking about personal brands? I don't want, I'm not talking about personal brand. I'm talking about my corporate brand. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And Matt said this yesterday too. He said, with the brand, the brand is kind of like, God breathing life into humans. When you're building a brand initially, right? Even if it's your corporate organizational brand, somebody has to be there to breathe that life into it. And so when you're building a brand, whether it's personal or a corporate brand for your organization, you are responsible for giving it your very best, to give it the very best energy that you can so it can sustain itself. And so the question I have for you, have you done that? Have you done that, right? What is your business without this intentionally created, lovingly created brand? It's just a collection of systems and processes that happen to work together. Without the brand, there is no why, there is no energy, there is no passion and purpose and fire. Without the brand, there is none of those things. You've got people clocking in and clocking out. That's what it is. Is that what you want your organization to be? And I'm not saying that every single person who works in your organization is going to love it. I'm not saying that. But for the right employees, they absolutely should. And so this brings up something. I'm going to go a little bit esoteric here, maybe a little bit too far into the theoretical for some. But did you know that consciousness, we only have theories for consciousness? As human beings, we still don't know why we're conscious. And so we've typically had like two definitions of it, right? We've got a religious spiritual definition, and we talk about the spirit and the soul, and that's what makes us conscious. That's what gives us more than what we've got going on. And then you've got the scientific one, that's more like, hey, it's because of the brain, right? And so we've called those dualism, which is the religious spiritual one. Dualism is like, okay, we've got the body and then we've got the spirit, and the spirit is what gives us the special consciousness. The second one is, I believe it's called monotheistic. And that is just, hey, we're conscious and that's the way we are. And it's just matter anchored. It's anchored in the matter, right? Anchored in the brain. But there is actually a new theory that came out it's relatively new. And it's dualism, the same way that religion and spirituality talk about it. But this guy says it's got like a scientific explanation. Side note, I think that they're the same thing. But anyway, these people are like drawing lines in the sand. But this new theory talks about the electromagnetic field of consciousness, essentially. And so what he talks about is, yes, our synapses fire in our brains, but it's not just the synapses exchanging information between each other. There's also an electromagnetic charge that gets released, and we've got like this electromagnetic field, and that's the anchor of our consciousness. But anyway, I say all of that to say is we talk about collective consciousness, and we talk about energy exchange, and some people, you're around them and they just suck the energy right out of you, and some people are just like, oh well, that's like a very good explanation, like we can get scientific with it again, but essentially, whether it's scientific or not, they suck the energy out of you and you shouldn't be around them. But when I bring all of that up to talk about your brand, in that your brand, I believe, can exude the same type of electromagnetic field, if you will, or the same type of aura, which is what people normally call it, or what people have called it for a long time. I won't say normally, but what people have called it for a long time. I believe that your brand can exude that same type of energy. So we'll just call it energy now. I'll get away from the science and the spiritual stuff. I believe your brand can exude the same type of energy. And for every person who lines up with your brand, they become included in that energy. All right. And so when you intentionally build your brand with that in mind, that you are building a community of people, right? You are bringing them into the fold of your brand, and they are taking that energy in and putting energy back out into your brand and helping it grow. It becomes something, again, even for a personal brand or a brand where you're the solopreneur and you're the driving force of it. When you build a brand that way, it grows beyond you, and you build this community of people who are completely bought in to your brand's mission and purpose and vision. And isn't that what we all want, especially looking back at 2020, and we looked at, okay, what caused businesses to succeed and what caused businesses to decline? Innovation was definitely one. The ability to pivot was another. Imagination and creativity, those are all pieces. But community was another. Because when I pivoted, who trusted me enough to stay on board? When I pivoted, who said, hey, let's see where Ruthie's going to take this thing. Let's see where it goes. And it was those people who were in my community, who were a part of that energy, who believe in the brand the same way that I believe in the brand. And so they've grown with me. Oh, hold on. Matt said, no, don't go down the consciousness rabbit hole. I've lost so much time researching and thinking about this stuff. Well, Matt, I brought it up because I thought it was interesting, and I can send you the article if you want, but it sounds like you have too much stuff to do and you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. And he likes the word life. Okay, yes. So that's what I'm saying is your brand is the life force. That's probably a good one too, right, Matt? Your brand is the life force of your company, and nurturing that life force, growing it, spending time with it will allow it to continue to be something that grows bigger than you and beyond you, and carries your hopes and dreams and futures, and helps you manifest them and make them a reality. So I know that was kind of heavy for a Friday. That was not like a fun Friday type of topic, but it's something that made me feel really amazing because I've realized that that is the type of energy I'm trying to help entrepreneurs bring into the world. And that's why the Why workshop was so incredibly effective because, well, like effective in that the why is a huge part of understanding what it is that you're trying to breathe life into. Like where is the source of this life? And if you can't pin it down, if you can't get clarity on it, then you are going to struggle to infuse your brand with the type of energy that you're looking for. And so that was something else that kind of came to me is that, hey, yes, I'm in branding, but what I'm focusing on essentially is the life of your brand spirit, or your business's soul, as I called it in the title. And so brand voice probably comes pretty close in terms of what it is that I do. But if you do not have this pinned down, then again it just becomes so much harder to not go where the wind blows you and instead stay anchored into your true self and work towards an actual purpose, a purpose that isn't a moving target but something that you can really focus on and hone in on. And so yeah, so obviously that's more than I've already gone over by a minute and a half, but that's more than 10 minutes. But what I did want to tell you, and you heard it here first if you're watching this, is that I am going to be doing another Why workshop. As of right now, I am planning for May the 4th. Yes, May the 4th be with you. Yes, I got it. But I am planning on May 4th. And maybe that's the point, right? I was just talking about like your brand's life force. May the 4th be with you. So I'm picking May 4th, and I may come up with some memes or something in honor of that. But there's going to be another Why workshop. If you know anybody who should be there, if you should be there, please come talk to me. The people who attended got massive value, way more than I could have hoped for. And I'm so proud to have been a part of that. So I'm going to run another one for those of you who did not catch it the first time. And yes, I will be announcing this. It will be like out to everyone, but it's still going to be, 10 people. And let's see what comes out of this, because it'll be the second time I run it. So it's just going to get better. So today is Friday. I am looking forward to the weekend. I hope you are as well. I hope you have relaxation planned, but sit with that. What type of energy does your brand embody? All right, sit with that and try and answer that question. Oh, Matt's over here amping me up. Sign up for it, he says. Yes, Matt gave me a video testimonial. I'll be sharing that as well here soon. But yes, please just sit with that. Like, what type of brand energy? Like, what type of energy does your brand embody? What does your brand spirit look like? Like, if you wrote it down, please write it down. What would it look like? And so that is it for me today. And I will see y'all later. If Matt watched this live, I know he was here the whole time. If you're catching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. Mwah. Happy Friday.